Hi everyone. Today we are going to take a new topic, joints. You must be knowing what is a joint is. Joint means the meeting point between two or more bonds. The meeting point between two or more bonds is called joints. We have different types of joints in our body, and these kind of joints can be movable joints or immovable joints or partially movable joints. So different varieties of joints are there. Depending upon the type, we have many kinds of classification on joints. And arthron, syndesmosis, articulatio, junctura are the different terms which is related to the joints. And arthron, syndesmosis are Greek words, but the remaining two, articulatio and junctura, as Latin words. Here in this slide it is given that the junction between two or more bones or cartilages called a joint. Number of joints in children are more when compared to the joints present in an adult, because in children the number of joints, the number of bones are more. Why? Because for example, if you're taking the frontal bone of the skull, the frontal bone is in two pieces at the time of birth, and these two pieces were joined, and later the two pieces of frontal bone fused to get a single piece. So in adult we will have only one frontal bone. Like that, many of other bones are also in two pieces or in different pieces. Later it will fuse upon and it forms a single bone. Regarding its classification, we can divide the joints into three different types based on its structure, function and regime. Based on the structure, in the sense, we know while forming a joint, the two bonds are connected by either a fibrous part or a fiber material or a cartilage. We have three types of cartilages. We know it is hyaline cartilage, elastic cartilage, fibrocartilage, in which hyaline and fibro can be present in a joint, or can these two cartilages can join two bones. But at any cost, we cannot see an elastic cartilage in a joint. So either fibro cartilage or hyaline cartilage can be present. Then sometime two bones are connected by a fiber material. So based on that, we can divide the structural classification into fibrous, cartilaginous and synovial. Next is based on the function. Based on the function means based on its range of movement. We can classify the joints into synarthrosis, amphiarthrosis and diarthrosis. Synarthrosis means, syn means fused. So synarthrosis means this kind of joint, the two bones are closely fused together, and this type of movement is not allowed. The type of any movement is not allowed in this kind of joint. And amphiarthrosis means partially movable in the sense it can move little bit. But diarthrosis means freely movable, and this diarthrosis are the synovial joints. These are the common joints present in our body, and synovial joints are most movable joints in our body that is present in our upper limb and lower limb. Regional type means, in regional type, in the sense what is the location of the joint present. For example, skull type, vertebral type, limb type, joints in the limb, joints in the skull, joints in the vertebra. Then we will first move to the functional classification according to the degree of mobility. The joints can be synarthrosis, amphiarthrosis and diarthrosis. Synarthrosis are immovable fibrous joints. For example, skull joints, sutures of the skull. Amphiarthrosis, they are slightly movable. Cartilaginous pad is present in between, fibrous capsule is present. For example, joints present in the vertebral body. Diarthrosis is freely movable. These are synovial joints. Here we can see the skull, fetal skull. In this, there's a membrane. These are the two frontal bones which was in two pieces. These are two parietal bones. In between, there is a membrane, and this bone, the frontal bone, later fused to form one, and it is having a joint between frontal and parietal, and this joint will not allow any kind of movement. So these are the sutures present in the skull. Sutures are example for fibrous joints. Then we can see vertebral joints. Vertebral joints means the joint which is present between the vertebral bodies. Between two vertebrae there is intervertebral disc. That intervertebral disc is a fibrocartilage. Because of the presence of this fibrocartilage, slight movement is possible in this. Then this is example for a synovial joint. This is a joint of the shoulder. This is a typical synovial joint. In this synovial joint, the movement which is allowed by a synovial joint is more. It is highly flexible. The range of movement is more in synovial joints. Then we can see the fibrous. In fibrous joints, a fibrous tissue is present between the bones. The fibrous tissue, because of the fibrous tissue, it is immovable. And the different types of fibrous joints are sutural, then syndesmosis and gomphosis. Sutures example skull joints. Syndesmosis means syndesmosis joint can be seen in radioulnar joint, because here the two bones are connected by an interosseous ligament. Then gomphosis. Gomphosis is example for the gomphosis is the joint between tooth and socket. So between tooth and socket there is a fibrous material called the periodontal ligament is present. So fibrous joints means the material which is connecting the two bones will be a fibrous tissue. This picture shows different types of sutures. And this is syndesmosis joint. These three are different types of sutures. This is example for gomphosis. Then cartilaginous joint. Here the articular surfaces are connected by a cartilage. Cartilaginous joint can be primary cartilaginous joint or secondary cartilaginous joint. That is because or this naming is due to the presence of type of cartilage present in this joint. That we know we have three different types of cartilage. Elastic cartilage ഒരു കാരണവശാലും നമ്മുടെ jointൽ വരില്ല. But the cartilages that can be seen in joints are either fibrous cartilage or hyaline cartilage. So depending upon the type of cartilage, we can classify the cartilaginous joint into primary and secondary. In primary cartilaginous joint, hyaline cartilage will be the cartilage present between the bones. But in secondary cartilaginous, fibrous cartilage will be present. So the difference is, the importance is, if a hyaline cartilage is present to connect two bones, what happened is, in later life, after 20 years of age, this hyaline cartilage completely replaced from there, and which this area will be converted into a bone. So after 20 years, this cartilaginous joint, the primary cartilaginous joint, will be no more, and that's why this cartilage is called temporary joint. This joint is called temporary joints. But in case of fibrocartilaginous joint, the two bones were connected by fibrocartilage, so this fibrocartilage is never going to convert into bone, so that will be a permanent joint. All the secondary cartilaginous joints will be distributed in the midline of the body. Example for primary cartilaginous joint is the joint between epiphysis and diaphysis. Epiphysis is the end of a long bone. Diaphysis is the shaft of a long bone. So between epiphysis, between the end and the shaft of the bone, there will be a hyaline cartilage, and this joint form the primary cartilaginous joint. And here this primary cartilaginous joint is later converted into a complete bone. So that's why it is called a temporary joint. But in case of the secondary, the fibrocartilage is connecting the two bones, and this fibrocartilage is again covered by a piece of hyaline. You can see in this picture, fibrocartilage comes in the middle, which is covered by two pieces of hyaline, and these are the two bones. So this kind of joints are present in the midline of the body. For example, intervertebral joints, pubic symphysis. Pubic symphysis means the two pubic bones of the hip joint, of the hip bone, forms the pubic symphysis. Then symphysis mentae. Symphysis mentae means the two pieces of the mandible are joined together in the midline. Then sternolateral joint. So all the joints which comes in the midline of the body are coming under secondary cartilaginous joint. This picture shows the pubic symphysis. This is a pubic symphysis. Then we will continue with the synovial joints in the next class. Thank you.